Oh, I don't say good day to you this day of your time. How are you? Allow us to begin this interaction this day of your time with what might be titled a cozy little chat. Now, we usually discuss many ideas with you in these interactions at the beginning of these sessions that deal with what you may call fundamental tools, fundamental methodologies by which you can allow yourself to get more closely in touch with the Creator that you are, with the reality that you have created, with the methodologies by which you can create the reality you prefer. And to some degree, in this interaction this evening of your time, we will touch upon these ideas, but mostly, we would simply, at this time, enjoy speaking with you, individually and collectively, in a relatively informal manner, just sharing of thoughts, sharing of perspectives, sharing of our sensation of the momentum that has been generated by these interactions and all other interactions you have co-created with any consciousness, anywhere, at any time, throughout your entire planetary civilization in this transformational age. All the ideas that we have shared with you, all the ideas we have reflected back to you, as we have always said, are simply reflections of the things you already know within yourselves to be true. We have not really taught you anything fundamentally new. We are simply mirrors, being of service to reflect back to you the power you already have. At least we believe you have it. You don't have to. And sometimes many of you have expressed to us in our interactions that it may seem difficult for you to believe that you have this ability to create your reality the way you prefer it to be. All right, so be it. It is all right. You are all doing just fine, no matter in what way you choose to do the life that you have created to be your own. You are all doing just fine. For remember and take it to heart, even though you may have the experience in your reality of what you call physiological death, you never really die. You are all eternal. You are all the infinite. And what you call physical death is only a change of format, a change of perspective, change of methodology. May seem drastic to you. But remember, you have always been infinite, and you have experienced physical death many times. And yet, here you are, doing just fine. And so, truly understand that if you have a fear of the changes you say you want in your life, all right. If you have the fear, acknowledge it. Acknowledge you have the fear. And as many of you have recognized, you can still say, I have the fear, and I'm going to do it anyway. Because you know that no matter what happens, you will still exist, even if what you did resulted in what you called your physiological death. Not that we recommend it. But even if that were the case, even if that is what you created, you will still exist. You will still be alive. You will still be just fine. All the things we have shared with you about your imagination as the primary tool, about all the methodologies that can be utilized to create your reality, belief systems, emotions and thoughts, intentions and actions, integrity, along with imagination, all these things we have discussed, all these things we have shared, they are all perspectives equal to any other perspective you may choose to create. To some degree, they are descriptive of some of the fundamental mechanisms of creation. But how you choose to interpret them through the persona you have created yourself to be is up to you. And you can allow them to work in many ways. We have discussed that there really is no one way. that all methodologies of expression of the self as an aspect of the infinite creation, by definition, are all valid and equally real and equally true. Well, I have discussed all these ideas with many of you over the course of what you may call the 4 years of your time that we have interacted with you through this particular channel. Always, always, we ask you to remember, never, 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 never to believe anything I say just because I said it. You have equal ability to determine what is true for you, just as I have the ability to determine what is true for the reality I prefer to be. I am only sharing with you what works for me. It is up to you to decide whether or not you wish to adapt it and adopt it into your reality, to decide if it works for you. We recognize as a civilization that you may now be proceeding in pathways, in methodologies that are similar to methodologies that have worked for us, and therefore we recognize that some of our methodologies may work for you, fundamentally. But that's up to you. Completely, utterly up to you. There is absolutely nothing we can do, nor would want to do, to force upon you the assumption that you have to do the things the way we do them. We love you unconditionally, and again, we have faith and belief that you will do whatever you really believe you need to do to be whoever you have defined yourself to be. Sometimes, many of you have approached us as if we know everything. We do not. We know everything we need to know to be who we are at any given moment, just as you know everything you need to know to be who you are at any given moment. But the focus that you are in right now, the persona that you are right now, the focus I am in right now, the persona I am right now, does not necessarily have to have conscious analytical recognition of everything in creation in order for me to exist in the way I am. It is known to all of us on what you have called and created to be other levels of reality. But the information that you really need to live the life you're living is always available to you. And what is not immediately available, what in that sense belongs to other levels, you do not always need to live the life that you are living now. One thing I can guarantee you that we do not know and will never know is when you will choose to know that you are the creators of your reality. I will never know that. That is completely up to you. You will always be the first to tell us when you know that to be true for you. I will never be able to tell you when you are going to decide that you are the creator of your reality and when you are going to decide to act like it. That is not for me to know. It is for you to know. For you to decide. When you have decided, then I will know. And I will be more than willing to allow you to tell me. For it will give me great joy to know anything you have decided is true for you. Because I love you as you are. And we thank you for the opportunity to interact with you, the you have chosen to be individually and collectively. For in experiencing your civilization, always, we are given the opportunity to expand our understanding of infinite creation or all the ways it can manifest itself through you. You expand our concept of creation. And for this gift we thank you. In return for this cozy little chat, once again I will simply ask you now, how may I be of service to you?
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you very much for your opening speech or chat. It was really interesting.
Thank you.
I would like to discuss a situation that exists on animal experimentation. Many of our researchers and scientists use animals to test things that they don't want to use on humans. And I was wondering if the animal has an agreement to do this, and if it's cruel to the animal.
To some degree, there is an agreement. It does not excuse any idea of acting outside of integrity on the part of the human. But the idea also is that animal consciousness doesn't always necessarily experience things in the same way that you would. However, there is a very simple solution, as you say. If and when your scientists begin to understand that consciousness can be a part of their equations, a part of their understanding, then they can allow themselves more direct communication with animal consciousness, and the animal will simply tell them anything they want to know. They do not have to take an animal apart to learn the things they need to learn. If they start to identify with the vibration of the animal consciousness, they will simply know what they need to know. If they use their imaginations and their consciousness in that way, any sort of a model, any sort of a structure, any sort of a template, a blueprint, an understanding can be gleaned through the imagination by simply performing the identification with the consciousness of the animal and allowing the information to simply come to you. It is simply that your society, as of yet, is not willing to place its trust in the ability to be able to do that. It still is thinking externally, that it has to gain its knowledge outside of itself, in the externalized manner of taking apart the physiological universe in order to put it back together. Now, you can learn about many things this way, but as you have observed, it is, to some degree, a very slow, or can be a very slow and tedious process. Because the more details you create in that way, the more you pick things apart, the longer it takes, in that sense, to put it all back together. If you simply deal with it as a whole, to begin with, then you will have whatever understanding you need at that moment. If your scientists are willing to trust their instincts and intuition, in that sense, the animal part of themselves, and increase that identification with the animal that they are examining or researching, then as they identify with it, as they literally become the human version of that animal, then they will be able to understand how they work. Because you will work the same way. You will have the same feelings within you, the same degree of consciousness, the same instinctive self-reflection, and you will know the answers to the things that you seek. That is, in that sense, from our point of view, the simplest way.
Well, in a sense, if they could do that with an animal, they could do it with a human, and they wouldn't need the animal to be a model.
Well, what do you know? Surprise, surprise! Yes, that is correct.
How does this relate to the genetic experiments they did during the times of Atlantis?
To some degree, it is similar. In that timing, there were the creation of many beings, physiologically speaking, that were manifested outside the integrity of your race. Beings that were used, in your terminology, for many menial tasks, and were in that sense subjugated, dominated, enslaved, were created only for the purpose of serving in a menial fashion. So many of the things you are now experimenting with in your society, that you are labeling genetics, are very similar to some of the ideas that were done in the very beginnings in Atlantean times. Recognize, of course, that all that is happening is, in your terms, the repetition of a cycle begun so long ago, the playing out in a different way of a similar idea, because most of you are the same beings that played those ideas out in Atlantean times. And in having generated the cycle of negativity that you did, you have now played through that cycle of negativity and have brought yourself to the same threshold again. The same threshold of the same powers, now deciding whether to use them with integrity or outside of integrity, as was done before. So it is your opportunity as a society to decide now whether to learn to identify in energy terms or to continue to segregate in physiological terms. Understand?
Very much.
Does that assist you?
Very much. Thank you very much, Bashar.
Oh, thank you very much. Sharing.
Bashar, my name is George.
All right.
Greetings. Greetings. What I would like to know is, what would it take for me to be able to exteriorize out of my body at will? What exercise or what meditation, so that I have complete control out of exteriorization, or would I need a master?
You are a master. Everyone is a master. However, a valid methodology would be to find someone that already does it and mimic them. Because the more you identify with someone that does something you want to do, the more you match their frequency. And the more you match their frequency, the more you become capable of doing what they do. Because you operate on the same wavelength. So, one very strong methodology would be to find someone that is doing the thing you want to do and mimic them. Follow them in that sense. Not in the sense of following them because they are better, but simply mirroring them because they are a reflection of the idea you wish to be. Understand so far?
Yes.
So that is one way. But remember that a master will be the first one to tell you that you are a master as well. And they are only mirroring back to you the capability that you have already innately within you. And the only reason you may not be able to experience that capability may simply be because of the beliefs and the assumptions and the definitions that your society has given to you about that sort of thing. Because the way you perceive that you have to go about it may, in and of itself, short-circuit you from doing it. Because your definitions may not allow you to understand what it is that needs to be done. So, first of all, as we have already discussed, if you can find a pattern in your reality that you can copy, by all means do so. The second idea would be to create that pattern in your imagination. Create an image of yourself doing what you want to do. Then all you have to do is take the situation and the circumstance that you have at hand and hand that situation to the imagination you that represents your ability to do what you want, and watch the imagination you in your meditative picture see how that you handles the circumstance, and then simply do what that you does. Follow your imagination. Mimic and mirror, copy the imagination picture you have, that you have created of yourself doing the thing you want to do. Understand?
Yes.
Secondly, in that sense, after the mirroring aspect, either with an outside person, so to speak, or within the imagination self, is to realize that even though we know in your physical reality it seems as if you are actually leaving your body, you're not. Your consciousness does not exist inside your body literally. It is a colloquial point of view that you have because of the physical world you have created yourself to live as. The idea simply is that your body is within your consciousness, not the other way around. So what you are calling astral projection or detachment from the body is simply an expansion of your consciousness that allows you to now perceive things per se beyond the bodily limitation, but you don't actually leave it altogether. If you assume, by creating this picture, that your consciousness is a bubble, a sphere, and right now it is simply condensed to the confines of the idea, the definition of your body, then imagine that that bubble simply expands so that your body is now at the center of it. But your perspective, your perceptive ability is on the skin of the bubble. So as you expand the bubble, expanding your consciousness, in that sense, to include the body and other ideas, then you have the perspective, from your point of view, that you're actually leaving the body. All you're doing is actually enlarging the definition of the consciousness that you are, so that your body becomes a part of it. Understand?
Yes.
So, one idea also is to simply relax more and more and understand it's not a matter of willpower. It's not a matter of effort and struggle in that sense, or concentration in the discipline sense. It is a matter of allowance, relaxing, letting go, and examining the definitions you have of physiological reality. One analogy may be as follows. I'm not saying this is the case with you, but simply to assist individuals in understanding how these things can work, is that if an individual wants the idea of what you have called separation from the body because they think that physical reality is a trap, is limiting, and they're using the idea of astral projection to run away from physical reality, then that idea is what allows you to securely lock the key, lock the door, and not allow the idea of astral projection to occur. Because an expansion will never occur at the expense or the invalidation of where you already are. It must always occur at the inclusion and the enhancement of where you already are. So if astral projection is being used to run away from physical reality, you will never allow yourself to have that experience. It's when you understand that physical reality is just as free, just as valid, just as joyful as what you assume the astral experience could be like, that's when you create less difference between the two, and when you create less difference between the two in your definitions, that's when you allow more of a blending to take place, and that's when you realize that the physical reality isn't really different, per se, from an astral reality. They are both extensions and both expressions of the same one reality, just in a different format. In other words, your spirit, once again, is not in your body. Your body is your spirit, in physical terms. When you understand that there is less separation than you thought between physical reality, non-physical reality, when there's not so much of a fence between them, then there will be no effort to break through that fence. They will simply start to blend, merge together. Dream reality will be recognized as the physical reality. Physical reality will be recognized as the dream reality. You will start to lose that tight definition. You will start to fade back and forth, one to the other. Physical reality becoming more dreamlike. Dream reality, non-physical reality, becoming more solid to you. So, in softening your definitions of physical and non-physical reality, you can also accelerate the process of what you call astral projection. Another idea is to allow yourself, when you drift into dream states, to tell yourself that you will, in the dream, wake up and know you're dreaming. For as soon as you do that, you will realize that you are, in fact, astrally projecting. That is another way. You can also attract into your reality whatever methodologies already exist in your literature that can benefit you the best. But remember, your imagination is the prime tool and can always come up with the methodology that will serve you best if you relax and trust it.
Thank you.
Well, does that serve you?
Yes, but I'd like to have one more question referring to that. Would self-hypnosis aid that relaxation?
It can. It is a tool like any other tool. And if you feel it will work for you, then by all means, you can utilize that tool. Remember that any hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
Well, how about the light meditation?
How about what?
The light meditation, meditating upon the light.
As we have already said, any tool is valid. If you are attracted to it, then you're attracted to it for a reason. If you're not attracted to it, then that's an indication that it probably will not be that strong for you. With integrity, use the tool that it excites you the most to use. That's your indication that that is the one that will probably work best for you at this moment, because it excites you the most. That's your indication. You could go on forever saying, well, how about this one? How about that one? They're all valid. A different individual will find that this tool will trigger something within them more than another tool will. And it will be different for another individual, yet again. Decide what attracts you and use it. But remember, do not forsake the physiological reality. It is just as valid. And the whole idea of learning to astral project is not to escape physical reality. It is to integrate physical reality with the non-physical, so that you literally become living light, living dreams. Because that's what reality is. It's only what you dream it to be anyway, only what you define it to be. All right?
Thank you very much.
Oh, pleasant dream. Shooting.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Since we create our reality...
Can you all hear this person?
No.
Speak up, speak up.
Okay. Since we create our own reality,
yes.
we create our own diseases and sicknesses,
yes.
right?
Many of these through your unconscious beliefs, because you have created yourself to have an unconscious side. So many of the things that you do not necessarily prefer in life, many of the things that you would call negative, are usually the product of belief systems that you have bought into that you don't even know you have. That's why many of the ideas, the diseases, the negative situations come up. That's why they manifest. To show you, look, this is what you believe in. Is this what you want? If not, then transform it. Because now the physical situation has put you squarely in touch with what belief you have that has created it. Now you can change it. That's why the manifestation occurs. To show you have the belief so you can change it. It doesn't occur to show you you're stuck. It doesn't occur to show you you're stupid. It occurs to show you have the belief so you can change it if you don't prefer it.
Well, I don't prefer this congestion I've had
All
for
right.
2 weeks, and I didn't know what caused it.
How does it serve you to have had it? In other words, what have you learned about yourself by having had it? What has it allowed you to explore? In what direction has it guided you by having had it?
Oh, just tried to make me see what...
It is not trying to do anything. What have you learned about yourself by having had it?
I don't know.
Well, all right. That's up to you to discover, in a sense. The idea is to understand, first of all, that if you have created it, then you must have a reason. Allow yourself in your meditative states to explore what that reason might be. Allow yourself to understand that if there is something that having it teaches you about yourself, then discover if you're willing to learn the same thing without that particular tool. Many times what you call dis-eases in life are simply there because you do not allow yourself to learn the same lesson in a positive way. And so you bring yourself into a corner and force yourself to look at certain things in your life by creating a dis-ease that then focuses you in the area you need to be focused. Now, sometimes these ideas can be, in your terminology, speaking linearly in time, some of these ideas can be carryovers, as you say, from other lives. But that doesn't mean that the control is back in that other life. The control is right here, right now, in your present, always. So, if you can, in your terminology, get a handle on how it has served you to have that idea, then you can understand what the reasoning is behind it, why you would have believed you would have to attract something like that. You can simply ask yourself, what would I have to believe in order to have this manifestation? Then once you understand what the belief might be that has attracted it, you can then redefine it. And in redefining the belief, you will redefine the entire experiential reality, and you won't have it anymore. Any symbol that has served its purpose does have no need to stick around. You can transform it. But the only way you can transform any physiological event is to own it first. And in owning it, it means take the time and examine with honesty and clarity what reason you would have to have something like that in your life. Examine all your relationships, all your associations. See how you believe about them. See if any of these examinations all of a sudden increase the effect of the disease. Because when that happens sometimes, that's your indication that the thing you are now looking at in your life is the reason you have attracted the idea of the disease. Now, you say you have experienced the idea of what you call a congestion, yes?
Yes.
All right. Now, usually we can begin this examination always by asking the fundamental question of everyone. Are you doing in your life the thing that excites you the most?
No.
Why not?
Afraid to.
Why?
Too security conscious.
Security conscious. Now, if you really understood what the idea of doing the thing that excites you the most was all about, you would realize that doing the thing that excites you the most is the most secure thing to do. Because doing the thing that excites you the most is being the truest to who you are. And that's why it is the most stable and secure thing you actually can do. It is only your assumption, based upon what you have been taught by your society to believe, that playing it safe is the true security. It isn't. Because it always creates doubt. It always creates the idea of trying to be someone else, something you may not really be. Doing what excites you the most with integrity is always the way to create the highest degree of stability and security in your life. And this is not simply some philosophical point of view. This is an actual description on mechanical terms of how reality is created. Excitement represents the thing that you chose to be in this life. That's why excitement exists. It is the vibration that represents who you are. So if you do the thing in life that comes to you that is the most exciting, the thing you can imagine would be the most exciting thing to do, that is the most stable direction to move in, the most secure, because it will bring an effortlessness with it and an unlimited abundance with it to continue to do the thing that excites you the most. So saying you're afraid to do it simply means you do not understand what the excitement represents. It is simply saying that you believe that playing it safe is more representative of who you are than the thing that excites you. And if you stop and think about it, you will realize that that's not so. You have no real reason to be afraid to do it, other than your assumptions of what your society has taught you might happen. But those things will only happen if you buy into them. If you simply know you have no need for that idea because you're willing to receive all the information you need to receive in a positive way, then you will receive the information in a positive way and you will be listening for it. And you'll allow yourself to hear it when it comes in a positive way, when it comes in subtle ways. You won't have to be hit over the head by your circumstances in order to pay attention to it. That's usually the only reason that individuals create the idea of struggle and difficulty and disease. To show them beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is not you. That's why you're suffering. Because you're trying to be someone you're not. Anytime you are being who you are, you will never, never, never suffer. Never struggle. All struggling, all pain comes from resistance to your natural flow. That's why it's there. So if you have any degree of constriction within you, it's because you're not letting the energy you are flow through you in a natural way. You're trying to be normal, not natural. Understand?
Yes.
Are you willing to act upon the opportunities that exist in your life that represent what excites you the most? And believe that you will attract the reality that represents your ability to do that thing.
Yes, I am.
Oh, all right. Then as soon as you flow in that way, all congestions and constrictions will clear out. Because you are simply congesting yourself. You are backing yourself up in that sense by not allowing the energy that is you to flow in a free manner. Understand?
Yes.
Does that assist you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Take it to heart, not because we said so, but simply because it is who you are if you believe that to be true. And allow it to soak in a soothing, revitalizing, refreshing, opening, clear, breathing manner. Breathe yourself into the reality you prefer. Open up. All right?
All right.
Pleasant dreams to you as
Thank
well.
you.
There will be more information of a concentrated nature for you in dream reality, as you colloquially call it. Enjoy. Sharing.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a very close friend who lives in San Jose.
Speak up, so that all may share who and what you are.
Okay. I have a very close friend in San Jose.
Okay.
He's very spiritual, very aware. About a year ago, he felt compelled to go into a bookstore. And then he felt compelled to go to a certain shelf.
Okay.
And on that shelf, he found this book. It's called The Book of the Unfolding.
Okay.
And contains some very profound passages.
All right.
There's no copyright or publisher or date. And we're wondering where this book came from. Do you know anything about this
It
book?
came from all of you. Another version of all of you. What might be called an ascended version of all of you.
There's a symbol inside here, and I was wondering if you might know what it means.
Can you define it?
It is the letter I, and it's in a sphere, a white sphere,
Okay.
with a black background.
Thank you. It is the symbol of the ascended version of all of you. The I that you all are, together as one. Now, what you may colloquially, to some degree, refer to as the Christ consciousness can be one way to refer to it. But let us not leave it simply at one label. It is simply all of your collective consciousness in a different frequency that has come through some individuals who simply allowed themselves to recognize basically what it was and put it out in that way for other individuals of similar vibration to attract themselves to it as a marker, as a signpost that they are aligned with themselves. Understand?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Well, does that serve you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being a part of that I.
You're welcome.
Shooting.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm Bashar too.
Oh,
But
right.
I want to know one thing. What is the source, the jinn or Frishta?
Once again,
The source is jinn or Frishta?
you are asking for a source.
Yeah. I'm asking your source, is it jinn or Frishta?
Are you using other than what is termed the channel's natural language to describe these ideas?
Yeah.
Then they are not translating to us. For the channel only understands his native tongue.
Same time.
The idea of what you call the terminology, Bashar, that came through to be representative of us,
Abu Bashar.
you are missing a point. Only the language that the physical channel is programmed with will allow there to be a translation, because the channel subconscious will not recognize anything that in your terminology is not what you call English. And therefore, the terminology will not reach us where we are, for I am not where you are. This is a telepathic link. I am not in your physiological presence. Only my consciousness is linked with the consciousness of the channel. And whatever the physical channel does not understand will not translate back to my consciousness. Can you use what is termed an English definition for the words you are using?
I don't know, we do have English termination or not.
Can you describe the idea in English terms?
You pick the word Bashar.
Okay.
The same source which brings the Bashar.
Repeat the two terminologies.
Jinn and Frishta. Because Bashar has two sources only. One is Jinn and one is Frishta. So just I was curious to know that you are getting from Jinn or through Frishta.
Understand that it is neither and both. For we are a balanced and blended understanding that recognizes all polarity. If you are seeking a single source, then recognize that the single source is simply the all that is, the infinite creation. And it is from the vibration of the frequency of the infinite creation that we are mirroring to you. Does that serve you?
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Shooting.
Bashar.
Hey. Good day to you.
Okay. I have before the harmonic convergence.
Yes.
I talked to somebody, a psychic, and she asked me this question. She asked me if I was a walk-in.
Yes.
And I didn't know, so I told her I didn't know. But it's been bothering me because I've been coming here and you've been talking about reflection.
Yes.
And so I was wondering if I was a walk-in or not.
You are, in a sense, an ascension of yourself. Many individuals will refer to the nature of what you call a walk-in to be something that has, quote-unquote, replaced the original spirit, not the one that was born unto the body. But the idea, simply, is that many individuals will also ascend into their higher selves, and that is what you have done. You have accelerated your own energy, but in that sense you are, colloquially putting it, the original spirit of the body.
That's what I felt. So
Yes.
It was very confusing when she asked me that.
It is simply that different individuals will recognize the energy in different terminologies. To some degree, on one level, there really is no difference between a walk-in and an ascension. Because all must be a part of the same consciousness anyway, and simply represents a different frequency of that consciousness. Even if you think it is a completely different individual, it isn't really on the fundamental level in terms of the consciousness itself. It can be on the personality level, a completely different individual, a completely different person, but not on the consciousness level. That is simply a different frequency of the same one consciousness. Understand?
Yes. So I'm the same person.
You are not the same person, but you are the same consciousness. A person is what you simply refer to as your artificial construct of physiological presentation. The personality is not representative of the total consciousness that you are. Understand?
Say that again.
This life you are living now as a physical being, do you have other lives?
Yes.
All right. You do. Do you believe that you do?
Yes.
All right. Understand that time is your illusion and all these lives are going on simultaneously, yes?
Well, I think so.
All right. All we are, in that sense, describing is that all the lives you have ever lived, are living now, or will ever live, all are aspects and projections of one single consciousness. Understand?
Yes.
And any changes you make in the persona in any given life are representative of other extensions, other aspects. You may appear to have the same bodily form, but that's simply a convenience of your society, so that you can recognize yourselves as the same basic idea, but you actually do become a different person every time you change a thought, every time you change an emotion, every time you change a belief, you literally become a different person, because a person is an artificial physical construct composed of beliefs, emotions, and thoughts. It is like a prism that allows the white light of the overall consciousness that you are to focus through that three-sided prism and manifest in the diverse spectrum of physiological reality. But anytime you change any one side of the prism, the light comes through in a different way, and you present literally a different face, so to speak. There are civilizations in which when you change a belief, change an emotion, or change a thought, the physical body changes abruptly as well. But simply that is not the definition of your civilization. You have created the convenience of keeping a similar physiological form with every change so that everyone will simply know you are basically the same being. But that doesn't mean you're literally the same person, because a person is simply a representation in physical terms of an idea that your consciousness is being at any given moment. Understand?
Yes.
So you are a different person, but you are the same consciousness. Understand?
Yes, but why did she ask me about when I was a child, when I was 9 years old?
To ascertain the idea of the personality you were then as opposed to the personality you are now. To understand the difference of the frequency between the old you and the new you.
Oh, I see.
Understand?
Mm-hmm.
Does that assist you?
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Very helpful.
Thank you. Sure.
Hello.
Answer you, good day.
I'm so glad she asked that question.
Oh, all right.
Because I had the same question.
Oh, all right.
And there was another aspect to it, which is,
Hey.
are there any extraterrestrial beings in this room besides yourself at this moment?
All of you. Understand that none of you are original to your planet. None of you. Understand? Now, there are also many other beings on different frequencies that you cannot perceive, many spirit forms, many extraterrestrial projections, in that sense, that are simply, in your terms, beyond your sensory ability to perceive. But each and every one of you have connections into every level as well. So fundamentally speaking, you are all also extraterrestrial, even though you are all born on your earth. Understand?
I think I do.
Everyone comes from everywhere, and therefore everyone comes from nowhere in particular. That is why, when the individual asks us whether we came through one energy or another energy, there simply is no way to label that as far as we are concerned. That is a differentiation that for us does not exist. That is that individual's interpretation, and it is valid, but those symbols do not apply to who we are. We are simply not of your sphere of influence in that way. We are not of your labels. And the terminology that we have chosen of Bashar has more than one meaning. And it is simply used as a convenience. Now, in one level, it is representative in the sense that we have already many times referred to ourselves as your future selves. So in that sense, we are humanity on another level. Understand?
Yeah.
And so in that sense, you could say, we are your ascended selves. You could say, we are your walk-in selves. But all of these things are quite arbitrary labels, and it all depends on the point of view you have at any given moment. But we are not confined to any one format, or we are consciousness. Even though we have a physicality, we are still consciousness and can be represented in any number of ways. There is an aspect of us and an aspect of all of you that exists on all levels. So to say that you are one way is not to say we are one way or another is not the complete story. We do not come through any one particular idea. We come through any avenue and any doorway that serves you in an integrated way. Understand?
Yeah.
So you yourself are expressing yourself on earth at this time as the expression, as the point of view, as the perspective that serves you and serves everyone else in the life that is going on.
Well, you know, that changes time to time.
It changes from second to second, moment to moment.
Right.
Always you are redefining and recreating yourself anew. You are always a new person. Always.
So the walk-in stuff is just to sell books, right?
It is a real event. We are not denying its validity. It is simply that sometimes it will take on more of the characteristics of what you classically call a walk-in, and sometimes it won't. But it's still basically representative of a similar idea, an ascension and acceleration of energy, of consciousness, of different frequency. Even if it seems to be a completely different persona, a completely different individual, it still, by definition, must be connected to the same soul to begin with. Understand?
Yeah.
Because remember, your spirit doesn't exist in your body. It doesn't literally leave, and nothing else literally comes in. The energy that is there is the energy that is there. It changes its frequency and can change its definition, and that is a real reality. That is a real change, because that's all reality is, a shift in frequency. One reality to another is a shift in frequency. They're both real. So in a sense, a walk-in and an ascension can be the same thing. And they are both accurate perceptions from different points of view. It is all relative. That's all we are saying. It is neither one or the other. It is both. Always both. Always, always, always. All polarity is always one in the center. All polarity must always come from one source. Understand?
Yes.
And that one source is simply all that is. The infinite creation. So, the label is not so much what is important, it is what you wish to do with the energy you feel yourself to be. If you wish to express yourself in the fullest way you can, you will be being of service, no matter how you label who you are. No matter how you label how you got to be who you are. If you know you're functioning with an integrity and you're doing what excites you the most, you will fit. You will be of service. You will live the life you chose to live. Understand? Does that serve you?
Yes, it does.
Does it answer your question sufficiently?
Yes, it does.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shooting!
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a question about my son.
All right.
He is very self-destructive.
All right.
Has been for 2 or 3 years, perhaps.
Age?
19.
In what way?
He uses a lot of drugs.
All right.
And alcohol.
All right. Have you shared with this individual some of the notions we have discussed about externalizing your power?
To some extent.
All right.
When he was a little younger and was still living with me.
All right.
He has not lived with me for the past year.
All right.
And even before that time, he seemed very unwilling to let any of the ideas in.
All right, but that's his choice, is it not?
Yes, it is. My question is,
Yes.
why is he doing this? And is there anything that I can do perhaps in the way of sending energy during meditation that might help to heal him? I suspect that in some way
Well, have you sent this energy?
I haven't tried it yet.
Why not?
Because I just thought of it.
Oh, all right. Then understand you're sending it right now. And of course, any support, any faith, and any belief that you can send to any individual unconditionally will be felt. Now, they don't have to use it. But you can reach them on a fundamental electromagnetic level that it will at least give them the best opportunity to use that energy in a positive way. So by all means, send them the energy. They will receive it. It has already been received.
Since I've tried many ways to reach him and have not so far succeeded, is there a way that I haven't thought of that might be more successful, that he might be more open?
Only the unconditional love. If that individual is not willing to sit down and have a dialogue with you, if you are not, in that sense, capable of allowing an interaction to occur, if you cannot co-create an interaction wherein he will be willing to at least examine different options, then all you can do is send him the love, send him the energy, and attract with your belief, with your trust and your faith, an opportunity that will automatically occur that can then provide the circumstances necessary wherein at least some ideas can be shared. But not out of desperation, not out of belief that he is weak, out of the understanding that he does have strength. Now all he is doing is putting his power externally rather than internally. Thinking that the tools, the symbols, the drug, as you call it, is what carries his ability to do what he wants. You can create a conducive atmosphere. You can literally radiate an electromagnetic frequency that may, like a compass, allow him to home in, if he truly desires to, and co-create with you an opportunity to sit down and discuss some ideas, but do not force them upon him. Just provide an opportunity to understand that every individual is as powerful as he or she needs to be already to create whatever reality they desire without having to hurt anyone else or themselves in order to create it. All you can do is provide an atmosphere to afford the individual an opportunity to hear these things he chooses. So now that you are radiating that energy, simply assume you will attract and information can be shared, or you will allow him to attract an opportunity into his life, whether it involves you or not, that will allow the information to at least taste. But it is always going to be up to him as to whether or not to look at it or believe in it. In that sense, that is really all you can do, for you cannot force anyone to change. That will usually only cause a reinforcement of the negativity they may already be creating. So love unconditionally. Send unconditional strength, and send your belief in him. Your belief that whoever he is, whatever he is, wherever and whenever he is, he does have the innate ability to attract the reality into his life that will allow him to discover his own power. send your faith, send your belief in his strength, and that will help him create a conducive atmosphere to attract an opportunity, a mirror, a reflection in which he can then see his own strength. Understand?
Yes, I do. Is there any reason for me to pursue the idea brought up by a therapist that he might be schizophrenic?
Well, in a sense, you can simply recognize that all of you are. In the sense that you all have many different aspects to the overall persona you believe yourself to be. What you typically call a schizophrenic is simply someone who has not been taught how to bridge what they have created to be a gap in the communication between one idea of themselves and another idea of themselves. They have not been taught how to communicate that idea back to the mainstream of your society, because they are not considered valid points of view. So in a sense, you can validate his point of view. It's not that you have to worry after him in terms of having a negative manifestation that you would recognize as schizophrenia. But schizophrenia is simply a recognition of different aspects, different points of view within the overall consciousness that you are, and an understanding that they do all fit, and they do all exist for a reason. They are simply different expressions of the same consciousness. Understand?
Yes, so even though his behavior might be labeled by some to be crazy or insane, quote unquote, he still has the power to...
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, individuals many times in your society who allow themselves to exhibit what you call insane behavior usually are simply showing you that they really very blatantly have the power to tap into other realities. Because that's usually all the insanity represents, is their perception of another reality that is just as real to them as yours is to you. But your society says they have no way to validate that reality, no way to communicate that reality back to the mainstream society, because the mainstream, what you call your consensus reality, won't buy it. And so they lock themselves in their own cycle because they know it's real. Understand?
Yes.
Approximately. This is a very, very rough idea, and only used to provide a rough analogy. Approximately 80 to 85% of individuals you call insane are simply unable to communicate the different realities they know are real. Now, that is why you have also recognized there is a very fine line between what you call insanity and genius. What you call a genius is simply someone who perceives other realities and knows how to communicate them in a way that your society finds applicable. That's the only difference. The individuals you call insane simply aren't aware that there is a mechanism by which they can communicate what they perceive in a way that can be applied into your society. That's the only difference. Understand?
Yes, so that would also account for the reason that so many supposedly insane people also have very high IQs.
Yes.
I suspect that my son, whatever reality he's experiencing, is frightening him a great deal, and I'm wondering if he's using the drugs to kill that awareness.
To some degree, yes. But again, you see, it is from a lack of understanding that all the fright originates from within the individual, and that he himself always has the capacity to transform it into joy. The continuance of the assumption that the drug is what has the power is the reinforcement of the frightening idea, for it is a continuation of a removal of the power from the self. Understand?
Yes. Is there some way I can recommend to him that he can let go of...
I have already given you that.
The frightening thoughts.
I have already given you that. Teach him that the power to create the reality always has been, is now, and always shall be within him. You can suggest that no situation is inherently causing. Only the fear you have of a situation creates any negativity in the situation. There is nothing inherently built in to any situation that automatically causes negativity. Of it causes the negativity.
So he can choose his response. If he doesn't like the thoughts, he can simply ignore them.
Understand. It is always a matter of trust, and that is not to say that you have to learn to do something you have never done before. Many times we perceive that when we say to your society, just trust, you think, oh, now I have to learn how to trust. No. You always trust. You have always trusted. It's just a matter of whether you trust more in negativity or positivity. The mechanism is the same. What you put into it is always what comes out. And there is nothing hiding in the mechanism that has a mind of its own that will change what you put in and turn it into something else when it comes out. These things don't have a mind of their own. You have always used trust to create your reality. But if you trust more in negativity, that's what you get. If you trust more in positive reality, that's what you get. So it's not a matter of having to learn how to use trust. It's just a matter of using the same trust and putting positive ideas into it so that positive reality comes out of it. It's the same analogy you use for your computer. Garbage in, garbage out. What you program it with is the only thing it's capable of returning to you. Same mechanism. Understand?
Yes, I do.
So you can share that idea with him as well. But again, it's always going to be up to that individual to decide whether or not they choose to prefer to believe that that will work for them. But you can point out that it always has. Because they have always gotten what they trusted they would get. Understand?
Yes, I do.
What they really believe is the most likely reality they can experience is always the reality you get. Change the definitions, you change the reality. And you can also remind the individual, because they may be experiencing a high degree of emotional fear, remind them all emotions are reactions to what you already believe to be true. Emotions do not come out of the blue. They don't come out of the black either. They come from the belief you believe in most strongly. That generates the reaction you call an emotion. And an emotion is also the driving mechanism that manifests the belief you have. The strongest belief, the strongest emotion. Positive belief, ecstasy, manifestation. Negative belief, fear, manifestation. Same mechanism. That's all. Understand?
Yes, I do.
Does that serve you?
It does. Thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you also for having agreed to share life with that individual. And you can remind them they agreed to be in the life they are living. It has always been by choice. Always. Once they own it, they can change it in any way they want to. But you cannot change what you do not own. Understand?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar.
Sharing.
Bill? Bill? Yeah.
Sam, Kay, Cynthia King are next, and then Gloria Royal are next. Please come. Everybody who's put their name on there is on the list, so please come and find out where you are. And please, first, the next two or three come up.
Are you enjoying your raffle?
It's almost perfect.
Oh, it is perfect.
I'm grateful to be with Next Prize. Hi, Bashar. Happy anniversary.
Anniversary to you as well.
I really didn't have a particular question in mind. I will just go on further in what the lady that was just up here was talking about, because it relates to me very well.
All right.
I'm a sober alcoholic. I went through a period in my life where...
I beg your pardon.
What that means is that...
I know what it means.
Yeah.
But the idea is that if you truly are a different person, then you are not the old one. No matter what anyone tells you.
That's why I say sober.
But that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a sober alcoholic.
Okay, that is good, because that's what I was going to ask you about. My belief in that system is that I came into this life, and one of the big lessons for me to learn was lack of power, powerlessness.
All right. That is a big one for almost all of you in this lifetime.
And then I chose drugs and alcohol as the symbol or vehicle to express that powerlessness.
Okay.
Having learned that lesson, I am now self-empowered.
Yes.
Particularly over the chemicals. The program that I'm involved in, which is known as Alcoholics Anonymous, has a spiritual foundation and proclaims that my sobriety and those who are willing to be sober, having experienced the lack of power through the drugs and alcohol, is contingent upon a daily reprieve, contingent upon our spiritual condition.
Yes, in a sense, yes.
Okay.
It is a valid tool in that way. However, there is a slight misconception, I shall say, in the idea or the assumption that once you are one thing, you are always that thing. Because if you truly do change, you really are, by definition, no longer that person. Literally. You do not have the same past. You do not have the same future. You are a completely different reality.
Then this would go against one of their foundational beliefs that it's a disease that progresses regardless of whether you use the chemicals or not, that a person who has been clean for 20 years can go and use drugs again and arrive at the same point.
They can, but it is mostly of the automaticity or the idea of a habit pattern that usually is responsible for the individual recreating it again. Nothing inherent in the idea. The belief in the habit pattern is what usually causes an individual to recreate it. Understand?
Yes.
Because if an individual always feels that they are fighting against a habit, fighting against a pattern, fighting against a tide, then it's a very easy thing to feel that you will, quote-unquote, slip back into it. And therefore, some individuals simply do not believe they can keep up the stamina. But when you understand there's no stamina to keep and nowhere back to slip, then you can simply stay where you prefer to stay.
I see related, because that term is what's used when a person does go out again, slip.
Yes. Again, it is usually only the assumption that an individual requires stamina to stay out of a certain idea that causes them to believe they can slip right back into it. Understand, any true slippage would always bring you by definition, because anything else you're doing is holding yourself out of center. So if you're going to slip anywhere, it's always going to be back to center. You can't slip back into something that is already outside of center. Understand?
I think so.
You can create it, you can choose it from beliefs, but it's not a true slippage. Anytime you really let yourself go and slip, you slip back to the center.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the point of equilibrium.
So, in the sense that I'm creating for myself, based on the belief that I have, I get uncomfortable if I go more than a week or two without sharing with these people, without going to a meeting or finding someone to, in a sense, give it away to, the message that I
if that's your methodology and that works for you, that's all well and good. But simply, all we are suggesting is that pay attention to the idea of the belief of why you feel uncomfortable. Because it may simply be that you are buying into the assumption that if you don't do that, you might slip. And that idea, in and of itself, can be what causes you to create all over again the thing you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because you do not necessarily believe that you have a lifetime's worth of stamina to stay out of that. But if you understand you don't need stamina to stay out of it, all you need are clear definitions of what you prefer to be, and then there's absolutely no way you can become anything you don't prefer to be, then it will not be a struggle, it will not be an effort. You don't need stamina. It will just be the definition you have created, and that's it.
Because I found myself going through a process whereby at first the obsession was lifted, then I'm at a point where it's not even an issue in my life.
As the idea is that whenever you define yourself to be a contained idea, you simply will not have the urge for anything that is represented.
It's possible for me, based on my belief system, that I need not go again to another meeting or pick up the book again and still stay clean and sober.
If you really believe it, yes. Let's look at it this way. There may be an assumption that this area of stamina or area of slippage is some sort of an interim phase between two distinct beliefs. It isn't. It's a belief unto itself. If you generate the belief that you might slip, belief, what can you expect to get from the idea except slippage?
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in slippage, you will slip. Understand?
Yes, I do. Can you tell me something about the origination of this program? It seems, because it's a spiritual program, and there are a lot of concepts in there that I feel...
Again, it is simply through you, through manifestations of insight and imagination in many different individuals upon your planet. But also there was some filtering and some assumption based upon the ideas that needed to be presented at the time it was originated. A lot of those ideas not necessarily apply to the society you are now. They were, in that sense, beneficial for the time in which it was created, and they can be beneficial now, but it depends upon what time an individual defines themselves to be within. For many individuals, they simply accelerate beyond that particular tool. For once again, like anything, it is simply one way, one tool. It is valid. It obviously works for many individuals. But it is only one way. And even the definitions that it is can be adapted to the changes that individuals create within themselves. In that sense, let me put it this way. Any tool that cannot change with the changes the tool creates in the individual, in that sense, is not a flexible tool. And therefore must either become obsolete or changes the tool creates in the individual. Understand?
Yes, that makes sense to me.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bashar.
Sharing.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, goodbye.
My question has to do about my mother. Her name is Christine Hammonds.
Yes.
And she's always experienced some kind of like paranoia, you know, whether it was someone.
Why?
Because she's very afraid.
Why?
Because.
Yes.
She doesn't. I don't know. I guess.
Well, have you asked?
Yes, but she won't. She won't let me in. She won't disclose any information.
Afraid of you too?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And so now it's gotten bad where she's people are gonna wait a minute. Break into her house and rape her and kill her, and
all right.
People are coming through her ceiling and
relax.
Okay.
You are among friends, you know.
I know.
Oh, all right.
So she's afraid that people are coming after her, and that her house is bugged and tapped, and that this particular individual named Alex and a particular individual named Laura that live in her apartment building are out to kill her and rape her.
All right.
And
now,
and that her water is poisoned, everything, you know.
All right.
So,
may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Now, do you believe you can ask her the following question? Do you want to live? Can you ask her that?
Yeah.
All right. If you ask, do you want to live? Now, an individual may say, well, of course I do.
Right.
However, now, let me add also the idea that if this individual, in no way, shape, or form, will choose to believe that they create their own reality, then there may be, in your classical sense, some difficulty in explaining this idea to her.
Right.
For if she is not willing to understand that she has created this in her reality, then she may not get the point.
That's right. I tried that.
All right. However, you may simply ask, do you want to live? Now, if they say yes, then you can perhaps ask, why would you want to live if you believe life is so rotten? And see what answer you get from that. It may allow them to finally face the idea that it is their perspective that is creating the idea of life to seem rotten. They may not really want to stop living, and if given the opportunity to start understanding why life doesn't have to appear rotten, then they may start searching for clues in their lives that are positive, for ideas and examples of life that are positive.
Okay,
Understand?
Yes, I do.
But if the individual really says they want to live, then allow them to simply answer, well, why? Why would you want to live if you really believe life is this terrible?
Okay.
All right. And then it can get them to examine It might get them to loosen up in their paranoia, because that is only negative definition.
Right. I have a feeling that if I could just... she's very defensive and will discuss the issue and et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
So I feel if there's something that you can share with me, maybe. I mean, I put pieces together about her childhood and my grandfather and my grandmother and things that happened, but I don't know if there's something just real definite. I wish if there was something like this, like a particular instance that I can just remind her of, reflect to her of, maybe concerning her father that I have a suspicion of.
One moment.
Okay.
Take 3 deep breaths. Will you do a favor?
Yes.
All right. You don't have to.
Okay.
Every day, flowers and fruit, and in your terms, simply other natural food, in small, brilliantly designed by you, baskets, to her. Every day. Bring her the things that remind her of nature, of the countryside, of meadows and fields, grass, sky, tree, ocean. Bring her the things of nature. The cones of the pine tree can be very conducive to allowing her to be in touch with a natural self. Bring every day. It does not have to be large. In your terms, does not have to be expensive. But flowers of beauty. Things to allow her to begin to remember that she is a part of nature and deserves to feel beautiful, natural. Feel that she fits. Now, at first she might rebel, thinking that the things that do fit into nature are mocking her. But bring them. Bring them, and soon she will be surrounded by a completely different environment every single day. Do that for about 3 of your weeks and see if there is any difference. All right?
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Shoo!
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, goodbye.
I'm Kenneth.
Hey.
The last couple of weeks, I've been up on Mount Shasta, enjoying the...
Speak up, Kenneth.
Okay. Last Saturday morning, I was awakened. There was a fairly strong breeze, and I had the sense that your small spaceship was over the trees.
A projection of, not in physical terms, a projection of energy and some other things.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Simply an acceleration of the electromagnetic field around you, a reflection of the emotional state around you. For all of your wind and weather is a reflection of your combined emotional states, all of you. So, an acceleration of the electromagnetic field, a quickening of the pace, a quickening of the pulse, a clearing of channels.
Thank you very much.
How have your dreams been?
There's been some interesting ones, but they're not coming to mind right now.
Will you do me a favor?
But of course.
Oh, thank you. You, of course. Margot.
She's at the front door.
Margot. Hello. Enjoying your break? we would like to discuss with you the opportunity of having another cozy little chat with Kenneth in the manner you call voice dialogue, to find some ideas within himself that he may be surprised to learn are there. All right? All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your cozy little chat and see what comes up for you in the way of clearing out some channels within you. Not that there is anything truly blocked, but simply that there may be some surprises for you. All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you and thank you. At this timing, just so Margot will not feel alone, you may all enjoy a short break, and we will resume contact in approximately 10 to 15 of your minutes. How's everything going?
Great. There's refreshments in the other room. You want to get a copy of the 9-state orders, and now you can have it tonight. It's right around the corner. We have a 15-minute break.
Andrew, you good day.
Oh, maybe 6 weeks ago about...
Right. One moment.
Yes.
Everyone, remember, everything everyone has to say, all of you in your own way. None of these things that you are hearing from anyone else. Otherwise, you would not be. So, it is anything anyone shares, idea to your life to see what for you is up to you. Yes.
Experience that had happened some time ago. Have from one dimension. Right. And back.
Yes.
Having some things that for me are, I'm sure they are for many.
Yes.
On people.
Yes. Well.
But I want to know what this is.
All right. It is your increased sensitivity to the magnetic field of your planet. Different are now becoming more visible to more of you because sensitized to them. Things that were formerly things of light are now becoming visible. That is what it is to be accelerated as an energy. The frequency of a higher. The things that used to be invisible to you on those frequencies because you move into the range of being able to perceive. Matching that frequency.
In other words, because my vibrations are changing.
You are all lightening up. Literally.
Is there a reason?
Because this is the transformational age upon your... When you are all remembering that you are all becoming awakened. You are all beginning to realize that physical reality. And the more conscious and awareness you have of all the energies you use to do that.
Can I ask you one short question?
All right. Just kidding.
Does the name...
To some degree. The you would call it would be representative generally. An aspect of your own future or higher being made manifest to you. There can be behind it and can be in your source of energy behind it, but what you are experiencing right now, basically the aspect of your own higher consciousness to the same level. Does that assist you?
Yes, thank you very much.
Almost that you feel a vibration Z in your language or an X at the beginning of its label, discovering a vibration that represents a connection to higher or future self specifically. Good day.
I have a problem.
Oh, a problem.
Yes, a problem. And I don't understand how I'm to handle it.
So that all may share.
My problem is trying to relocate to this area very much. But they are having difficulty. And I don't know what they're changing.
Do they really want to?
Yes, there's some physical. They want to be close to me and share their lives with me.
All right. Now, have they allowed them to let go of where they are? Yes.
And we do discuss this.
Yes.
They are working on it.
All right.
And when they finally let go of the new location, is their first priority in their life.
Automatic as well.
Okay.
Now, also, to some, they can lighten up on the physical space represent. They can begin to connected to you, that they are intermingled with you. I understand the desire of the physical proximity. However, they can a little bit on the definition for so much of physical proximity to represent ability to be in touch with you as you are always in touch. Always. Telepathic. Always. You are always together.
Okay.
Now, there are a few little spaces that need to arrange that represent your degree of comfort, your expectations. To some degree, belief systems or definitional about what it is they are going to find. Once they come to terms with that, then they can allow the space to some of the spaces that they wish to move into of some of these definitional that they have not consolidated yet. About what they will find. Understand?
Yes, very much.
The understanding that if they truly, quote unquote, I will say, guided in that direction, your physiological proximity, trust that they will fit. Understand?
Yes.
They will. By definition. You cannot wind up
and let go.
If it truly represents the most integral of what them together best. So, allow them to be clear about why they are where they are, where they want to move. When they are clear about their definition, clear about their deservability, clear about their action, then it will, of course.
The good parts to come. The good.
Once again, the imagination for that purpose. If you can envision a picture, a scenario, a vision, you say, of what you desire, what circumstances that exist in your life, and through the imagination, see how the you in the imagination would handle the circumstance. Because if it really is representative of the you, it will handle the circumstance differently than yours. All you have to do is copy the way it's handled, and you will get the same result. That's what your imagination is. To create the blueprint that you can follow. See the you in your imagination getting like the you in your imagination. Understand?
Yes.
You get to scan the scenario, see themselves fitting in where they say they want to be, and allow aptitudes that they. And when you have an aptitude, that you become the vibration. When you know you belong in that vibration, you cannot anywhere else. You will automatically to slide you to the location you are the vibration of. Simply allow them to become the vibration of in, and they will automatically. You cannot stay in a place.
I understand. Is to let them enter to vibration.
Yes. To allow them at home now with you. Spark their inspiration. All right? Thank you very much. Sharing. And to you good.
Weeks ago you talked about creating a body that had approximately 7 a second.
Yes.
Could you tell me I could create that as a...
You can create it as a physiological thing. You can create it in your imagination, and it can.
What about physically creating?
Simply generate a magnetic field that pulses a second.
How can I do that?
Search your technology.
Okay.
You have to involve strong magnetic fields.
Okay. How would it be best applied in our world right now? I know that you said...
Allowing an individual for a short time to lie in a state of repose, magnetic field no longer 10 of your minutes. Aid and assist them in some alignment. They cannot tolerate the field longer than 3 minutes. And that will be sufficient. It will be highly crystallizing and aligning. Now, understand something. Whatever is accelerated will then have to face what.
Yeah.
Some people first to appear to be a negative acceleration. They align themselves to become superconductive. There's no. Everything rises to the surface.
Absolutely.
All right.
What was...
Well, to understand that if it is there, then it is an aspect of themselves that they want. Dive into it and let it do you. Don't run away. You can't handle it. Otherwise, it is what you want. And always remember you have your own regulating system. If you want to shut it down, you can. And you don't have to berate yourself for having done so. Oh, all right. Little too fast. Slow down.
If someone... a minute, what would the repercussions be?
Now, I do not want to generate attitude or belief about what could or could not. But simply to recognize, again, that if it allows an individual to face things they may at first find unpleasant, well, just generally, you will have enough self-regulatory so that long before you ever get to a point where it will really do you any damage, you will probably run from the field. Understand?
Yeah, I do.
You remove yourself. Allow you to feel a little edgy. That can be your signal that you've had enough. All right?
Yeah.
But it's in that way. But it's crystallizing and superconductive causing. Does that assist you?
Very nice.
Well, thank you very much. Bye. Anytime you wish to find the basic of any, in terms of cycles per second, is divide what we would call the circumference along the equator into the speed of light, and you will get the cycles of seconds of the. Understand?
Maybe when I do my research.
Keep it simple.
Thank you.
It is in your terminal approximately 8 to 9, because we are on the verge of non-material. Sitting.
How do you
And to you, Mr. Diplo.
Thank you.
Day. All right, for you. Good evening.
Because society on my planet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not in your planet. Yeah.
Somewhere on your planet it is good day. My planet it is good evening as well.
Okay, that's
that we straighten that out.
Yeah, I know. Tuffy. Your energy is coming. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Burning question.
Oh.
Have you joined the association?
Rendition of it, yes.
Now you're getting.
But we are aware of the idea of Star Trek. And your association, your federation, your group that you are labeling the Klingons have joined.
Within the context of that program?
Yes. You will see so upon the advent
of the
yes. Yes.
That's great. That I really want to ask, 30th, be watching Channel 30, is relative.
Yes.
And how you perceive the event of abortion, your positivity. And before I know that, the negativity would be that you point of how much empowerment you take away. Probably, in any case, is probably is function because it doesn't take away
basically.
But of a fetus, since we'll assume that baby is yes, and it may be more positive if it's more appropriate for survival or growth. Aborted.
It will not depend upon the fundamentals of the circumstance. It will depend upon the reasons for the circumstance as to whether it is more of an idea or negative.
Okay.
Not the fundamentals are neutral.
So if is excited by the idea of abortion, and it doesn't seem to have any other that she would judge, it would be positive.
Generally speaking, the idea that you call does not really need to planet, and to some degree, a little bit of being out of yourselves, and so in that sense, or less considered energy. Very aware and in communication within yourself, so to speak, then you need to create the idea of abortion because you will simply know that you will not be pregnant when you do not need to be. And therefore will not necessarily have to do one step removed after the fact in abortion.
I guess we're still working to say that we will get pregnant when we quote unquote. Yes. Not me, I mean. Only a portion of it, but obviously.
Perhaps only.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yes, idea.
Okay. So I wanted to share. You asked me to report the results of my. What you suggested. I didn't do it. I need to do it.
Oh, all right.
What I was through the whole thing. I'm not worried about it. I finally learned my lesson that, and there seems to be I'll say, barrier to getting to the heart of the matter, right in the middle or at the process. That I don't want to interrupt the process. I just after it's done, I look back and say, "Oh, well,
yes." Allowing yourself to recognize your liability. Oh, all right. You're welcome. Sitting.
Hello, Bashar. My name is...
All right.
And I'm excited.
All right. I'm always excited to speak.
The responsibility that I create
All right.
for about 10 years. And with...
Are you having a good time?
There's been good times.
All right.
I feel that it's my responsibility. Whether it's my... It's a bad word, but...
Not a bad. It is a judgmental one.
It is.
Have to mean blame. Be recognition, and integrity, and to choose and freedom to create.
Next concern.
Oh, all right.
With immediately and job,
Yes.
the lack thereof. It may seem.
Oh no.
Went to a psychic
Yes.
to solve all my problems. In fact, I didn't know I had.
No.
It didn't help me. The psychic that in a previous life.
All of you have been at one time. Oh, who are you now?
Feel about
Yes.
it, and I don't somehow feel punished, strained.
You're not.
Say, but
Yes, it is.
That I can't get over telling me that I was not the people in my sphere
All right.
denied, but was not sensitive to food and clothing.
So now you are being by yourself to look from the other side. However, the opportunity in no way for means experience a negative manifestation from that point of view. It should be an opportunity and understand the mechanism of that point of view.
I do.
Right, now,
how do I make it work?
Oh, I don't like it. You allow it to work. Because let it. So, and first of all, again, it may with definitions that you abundance, ability to do what you need to do. You need to do it. I didn't say anything in there about money. Money is one of the ways on your very valid way to express. No denying that. Right now, you have money. However, it isn't, as many of you have been taught, a way to express abundance. You think that if you don't have money, you don't. That's not so. Paradoxically, one of the easiest to begin to allow into your life all other forms of abundance into your life as well, and not definition to money. Abundance, the ability, what you need to do, when do it. So, given moment, acting with integrity on excites you the most, you then a flow into your life that brings the ability to do represents most who you are. Now, that abundance, that flow, may not be what you have been taught that it must be, but it doesn't always have to be. The way you have been taught to expect it does path of least resistance. If someone were to be able to come up to you and simply give you something needed, or exchange with you something that you needed, would you accept that you had to have the money, accept the gift? Money? Accept
the problem accepting gifts. But I've worked on that. Probably take the money.
May I remind you? All right. But may I remind you one thing. Gifts you can give to allow others to give.
Worked on that.
Why are you working so hard? Don't you believe you deserve it? All right, do you now? Well then, let you, so that you can give to them. Do the thing that excites you at any given moment that you are capable of your integrity. And you flow of individuals to interact with. You will be able to serve by being who you are. That will be able to serve you. Allowing them to be who they are. You don't allow them to be who they are. Who you are. So that generates momentum of interaction on all. If something needs to be in your life, represented by the vibration you are, that requires that it come in the form of it will be there, or an opportunity, it will be there. But if others, let them be just as representatives as the money, because they are.
Following this advice and advice now make a difference in the other. Understanding simultaneously the life I am living at this time. Does it all work at one time?
And whatever you define yourself to be in the changes your path. Because there is only.
Now,
you see, it is easy.
My next one question I had with people that went together.
Yes.
I have in my hand the experience of an angel, and I must admit that I was the last to go up there and see an angel.
Oh, all right.
Else that I didn't expect to, but I thought that.
Yes.
And not everyone went there. It may sound simple, but go to this place.
Yes.
Didn't, which I think is true. Some people from the local papers to this particular place.
Yes.
See it.
Yes. It's a matter of frequency. If you are on frequency as something, you will see it. If you're not, you won't. To someone who does.
I'll show this picture if anyone wants to see it. Is there a connection between this? I saw a figure had a feeling of connection. Is there a connection between me and the people on the group? In particular.
Well, first of all, the most connection is that you're all on the same, doing similar ideas. You chose to go to a specific area for perhaps your own reasons. Collective energy idea. You will to express a certain frequency of yourself in a similar fashion. Enough to allow enough of you to identify with another level of consciousness, you are calling the angelic level, to reflect back to some of you the fact that you are getting in touch with more. What you are looking at is a mirror.
All the angels in the sky just.
There is only one.
I know. I'm not. No, that she has a name.
There is a connection to that vibration in which you found yourself. If you can simply as Shasta, for it is representative of a multi-consciousness. And that you can see multiple manifestations and you can see manifestations, but it's all one. As far as the angelic level, it considers itself only your world breaks it. It is the reflection of the combination of all of your higher consciousness.
Is this angel available?
It is you. It's a reflection, combination of your collective higher consciousness. It is an entity, but it is also a reflection of the combination of your consciousness. So, of course, you all the time, because it is you. And you are it.
Think it over.
Thank you. That is what I meant by one. It is you. Thank you. Sharing.
We gave you this night of art creates time to exist.
Thank you.
I realize anything I need to hear from you.
Thank you.
And I realize
having an exciting life.
Getting more and more exciting with each minute.
You can stand it. Do you think stand it to be 10 times exciting?
Yeah.
1,000 times. then we will for allowing that level of allowance to be. We thank you for your remind you that each individual who is willing to experience their ecstasy makes it that much easier for everyone to be able to do so. Because if you create that frequency into your reality, then there is an opportunity for other individuals to discover that aspect held within the reflection of the living soul that you are. Everyone makes a difference. Every single one of you. You all have infinite amount of impact. You all do. You all make a difference. Each one of you. Because each one of you is all that is, manifesting all the unique things that it can. So of course if you change everything. You are your vision of things. As we have said, we will not know when we'll decide to act will be the first. Extend each and every one of you, individually and collectively, our unconditioned excitement, our joy, our ecstasy, our love, our spontaneity, and thank you for sharing the dream that together we are a unconditionally loving good day and good